ML Sports Take brought to you by Welch & Company Jewelers and Elevate Fitness of Syracuse. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. A bunch of videos coming out from me on the Diggs deal. Buffalo trades Stefon Diggs to the Houston Texans. Now let's just quickly look at what the deal looks like, right? In exchange for Diggs, Buffalo is going to get a 2025 second-round pick from Minnesota, while they also send a 2024 sixth-rounder and a 2025 fifth-round pick to Houston, along with Stefon Diggs. Now, as far as both sides are concerned, let's look at Houston first. This is exactly what they should be doing. Load up. You've got C.J. Stroud on a rookie deal. Think Russell Wilson when he was with Seattle in that early rookie deal. Legion of Boom, tons of playmakers and all the rest. Pete Carroll, Hall of Fame coach, not yet paying the quarterback. This is what the right move is, right? They made the playoffs last year. A lot of those guys know what it takes to get there. They played. They got the experience and all that. Now you've got pass catchers. You got Diggs, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Noah Brown, Robert Woods. You got Dalton Schultz, and they picked up Joe Mixon from the Bengals. I mean, that offense, you talk about ready to win now. The Houston Texans are exactly that. As far as the Buffalo Bills go, end of an era, number one. Number two, the whole Allen-Diggs relationship that was in the beginning, it just isn't that way right now. And these are in no particular order. But Stefon Diggs is a pain in the ass. That's just the bottom line. I loved all the people the last couple of years who just treated Stefon Diggs as an angel. Like, oh, he doesn't want out of Buffalo. He doesn't want this. Stefon Diggs doesn't do that. Folks, look at the TV screen. Okay, I'm not inside the walls all the time like a Matt Perino is, or breaking news like a Ryan Talbot and Matt Perino are, or a Sal Capaccio. I'm not that close to the team, but I'm close enough to know some of these people and to know some of the inside stuff. I have another friend of mine who has another person who's inside the walls, so once in a while I get some dirt. I'm telling you right now, Stefon Diggs is a problem. And I understand superstars can be a problem. They can be a headache. They have attitude. They have the will to win, and they'll do anything, right? Like Michael Jordan is the ultimate competitor. He stepped on teammates' throats, but he's got a bunch of these. Stefon Diggs ain't got shit. He doesn't have any of these. Remember when the Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill and won 2 Super Bowls? I'm not saying the Bills are going to do that, because the Bills aren't the Chiefs from here to here, right? Top to bottom, they just aren't. But Stefon Diggs is a pain in the ass. The beginning goes great. He produces, he does his thing, then he chit-chats, and he complains about targets, and he doesn't address the media. I'm not saying you have to address the media all the time, but there has to be a respect factor. It is a part of your job. I'm sorry. And Diggs, many times not doing that, many times going against Coach McDermott on the sidelines, screaming at Josh Allen on the sidelines as well. The cryptic tweets, you know, the bull cray, I can't tell you what the future holds, but I'm being me, ready for whatever, all that kind of stuff. It's insane. The exchange with Robert Griffin III on Twitter as well recently, it's all immature, it's all old, and he wears people out. He did it in Minnesota. There was a reason Minnesota traded him to the Bills, and there's now a reason why the Bills are trading him to the Houston Texans. He's a pain in the ass eventually. Wicked talented, a number one, super productive. He's not an A number one anymore, clearly, as we've seen from the drops, and I'll get to that in a second. But he's all those things. He's one of the great wide receivers in the game right now. He's probably going to go down in a short period of time as one of the great receivers in Bills history, too. I mean, I wouldn't put him, top 3 or 4, but certainly you put him in a top 10 list at this point after the Reeds and the Molds and those kind of guys. The bottom line is Stefon Diggs becomes a problem. Eventually, he becomes a problem. He is an attitude guy. I'm all for, showing emotion. I'm all for getting frustrated in the moment once in a while. I'm all for some of that stuff. But when you ramp it up another level and another level and another level, and it's a blatant taking it out on Josh Allen, who's the last guy to blame for anything on this roster, when you're dropping balls from him, when you're bitching in the offseason about targets, when you were targeted a ton the year before and you got targeted more this year and dropped more passes this year, what do you have to talk about? Seriously, this guy eventually wears people out. And I brought this up with an interview, and I'm going to find it with Kim Jones, and she basically reacted and was stunned that I even brought up the question that will Stefon Diggs eventually wear out his time in Buffalo? And she couldn't even believe that I asked the question. I got to find that interview. She couldn't believe it. Here we are, Kim. Hope you're listening. Hope you see this video, because that's why I brought it up a couple years ago. That's why. I didn't think at that time that he was going to work his way out of Buffalo, but all signs point towards Stefon Diggs eventually becoming a problem. And that's why Brandon Beane probably made the move to get him, because he said, I got a 2 to 4 year time period maybe to win one with 17. I'm bringing in 14. We got a bona fide number one. The Stefon Diggs thing, they do the research in Buffalo. Beane and McDermott try to bring him in, win one before he becomes a problem. He became a problem and they traded him. It's that simple. This is a locker room move. This is not a money move. This is not an anything else move. It's a locker room move. The guy is a pain in the ass. It's that simple. Stefon Diggs is a complete pain in the ass. By the way, financially, according to reports, this trade will not be processed as a post-June 1st designation. So that means that the Bills will incur just over a $31 million dead cap hit this year. Yeah, that's how much they want him out of here. And it's the highest known dead money charge for a receiver in any season all time. That's how much they want him out of there. Now, their receiver room, it's a little bit bare. Their weaponry room, a little bit bare. You have Dalton Kincaid, you have Khalil Shakir, Curtis Samuel, Justin Shorter, Matt Collins, blah, blah, blah. But they're not done yet. Fans are overreactionary. They're not done. The draft hasn't even happened yet. What happens if Beane, again, I wasn't thrilled with the compensation back for Diggs, but what does that say about Diggs? It says that A, people don't think he's worth $18 million a year, and it says, I'm not going to give you a lot of draft capital back because Diggs isn't even close to the player that he was, right? I mean, look at the last 12, 13 games of the season. Stefon Diggs had less than 400 yards. I understand Josh Allen airmailed him a few times, missed targets across the board and all the rest. But can we talk about the drops? Can we talk about the drops against Kansas City? How about the throw that was perfect by Josh Allen to Diggs in L.A.? I mean, right over the top, drop the ball. I mean, there's a million of these different calls, right? It was either over the middle or along the right side. There were a bunch of throws against the Dolphins, both home and away. I mean, Stefon Diggs dropped the ball all year long. You cannot hide that. And go look at the production. He wanted the targets. He got the targets. He dropped a lot of those targets. That's all there is to it. And then once he started, dropping the ball, the Bills maybe went to Kincaid or Shakir more. Then he got pissed. I mean, what do you want? What do you want? And then he's a pain in the ass. That's what I'm telling you. He's a pain in the ass. He got the targets. He dropped a lot of them. Then he bitched about it. Then he's reaming out Allen. He's arguing with McDermott. He's not addressing the media. He's a pain in the rear. But here's the thing. It says not a lot about Diggs that they didn't get a lot in compensation. It says not a lot about Diggs in terms of, just trading. We'll eat the dead cap money and all the rest. And, that he's not worth $18 million a year and all that. He might succeed a lot in Houston. He's got a really great quarterback and supporting cast. But this trade signifies that people don't think a lot of Stefon Diggs. I also told a lot of people months ago that if there was one trade partner, it would be Houston because of their situation, with ready to win now and all the rest. However, keep this in mind. Bills fans losing their minds over this deal. Compensation, blah, blah, blah. Our number one's gone. Oh, the Allen Diggs stuff. Oh, the bros. Hang on. We don't know what Brandon Beane has in store. Okay? Yeah, are you mad that you're not getting something right away in this draft? Okay. Be mad. But what if he is getting something indirectly? What I mean by that is he can take this 2025 second rounder, which is a pretty good, it's not great compensation. Again, I think maybe you try to get a little bit more for Stefon Diggs, but you are getting ultimately a second rounder. It's not a 2026, 7, 8. It's a 2025, which is next year. Teams are already planning for their roster next year as well as this year. How do you know that Brandon Beane isn't going to take that and another pick and a low-end pick like a 6th rounder, package them all up and shoot way up the first draft board and go get one of the top 3? Bang, you got your replacement for Stefon Diggs. Is he going to come in and immediately give you 1,200 yards? I don't know. But why can't they? In that offense with Joe Brady, with the way they're running it with James Cook, and you got the Unicorn 17 at quarterback, you got Curtis Samuel, Dalton Kincaid stretching the field. Kincaid's in line for an 800-yard season. Curtis Samuel's a difference maker. Slot, Khalil Shakir growing. Folks, the world is not ending because Stefon Diggs declining in his 30s and is a complete pain in the ass. And the Bills didn't even win a Super Bowl with him on the roster. I'm not saying they're going to win one or not win one without him. I have no idea. And I'm not saying that they're going to do what the Chiefs did because the Bills aren't the Chiefs across the board. But to lose your minds because Stefon Diggs got traded after you had 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23, and 23 was his worst year and dropped the ball all over the place. In the last 2 years, the guy was a complete headache and a complete pain in the ass. Bills fans are losing their minds. How do you not know that Beane isn't at work right now to grab all these picks, all these things, trade, and go get either Rome Odunze, go get Marvin Harrison Jr., go get a big-time stud? How do you know that? I mean, how do you know that he's not at work right now to get one of these top 3 guys? I mean, I just, Malik Neighbors. How do you, He could easily be doing that. And one of those guys is going to fall below 6, 7-ish or 8 even, probably, because you're going to go QB. And then who knows if the Cardinals are going to trade out. If the Broncos trade up with them, there's rumors of that. J.J. McCarthy is going to go 4th. There's your first 4 in quarterbacks. So if the Bills can even get up to 8, they could get one of the top 3 guys, 7 or 8. Because you have the Falcons, it looks like they want to go defense because they've already got a potpourri of offense. They need work on the other side. Folks, I'm telling you, just relax because you don't know what else Brandon Beane is at work with here. So, again, that's the Houston side. That's the Bills side. That's my side. There was a little sadness to it because I thought Diggs for a great time was just awesome in Buffalo. He was charismatic. He was awesome in the beginning. Him and Allen really had it rolling. He was absolutely an number 1 guy, absolutely a top 3 guy in the league as a wide receiver. Absolutely, I don't think dropped anywhere below like 6 or 7 even with his production, but he's not that guy anymore. And this year really proved it. I mean, if you go look at a lot of these numbers, it was tough. I mean, it was a struggle watching Stefon Diggs trying to catch the ball this year. I mean, they created all kinds of patterns. They created the wide receiver screen, the deep balls, all these different things. And Stefon Diggs just kept dropping it and dropping it and dropping it and dropping it. I mean, look at this. This is the receiving stats for the Bills over the last 12 games in 2023. Okay, Stefon Diggs was 3rd on the list with 388 yards and 2 touchdowns. Folks, a lot of people think Gabe Davis had a bad year. How about this? How about 52? What's the quick math on this? 88 and 290, 50, 140 yards. Gabe Davis and Stefon Diggs in the last 12 games of the season last year, they caught the same amount of touchdowns, 2. Stefon Diggs only had 90 more yards than Gabe Davis. Yeah. Dalton Kincaid, more. Khalil Shakir, more. More red zone, receiving percentage. How about the drop percentage? Anybody want to guess what Stefon Diggs' drop percentage was? 12.5. 3rd worst on the team, behind Dawson Knox, who really doesn't have a place on the roster except for 2 games in late in the year. That's about it. And Latavius Murray. Your number 1 clear-cut bro of Josh Allen. The guy who was never leaving Buffalo, who loves it in Buffalo, blah, blah, blah. The guy who didn't address the media multiple times. The guy who went after McDermott, went after Allen a million times. Cryptic tweets, complaining about his targets, dropping the ball all the time. Stefon Diggs is a pain in the ass. That's why he got traded. Great player, great short time in Buffalo. And I'm not saying this is like a great thing right now for the Bills. But I'm more fine than upset about it. People are making him out to be like Jerry Rice at the age of 24. Relax. ML Sports Take here, brought to you by our good friends at Stanley Law Offices. Together, they'll work to get you the maximum reward, and a tip of the cap thank you as well to Camillus Golf Club. Go get your membership today at Camillus. As I always tell you, enjoy the games.